Hi, folks. Had the opportunity to view both of the hot seat manager videos and just wanted to provide uh, my analysis and the things that I observed in watching both videos. The first one, it was clear to me that the tone of the meeting was not set from the beginning or even before the meeting started. I think the manager should have made more clear what the meeting was and what was expected in that meeting. Perhaps the individual would have taken it more seriously. There were several times where he was on his phone. He was looking, I think, at a magazine at one point. He was not engaged, and that should have been addressed at the very beginning of the meeting. But I think even more so, and maybe the manager did it, but just it didn't seem like he knew what this meeting was for, because he came in excited and thinking that everything that he had done was positive and was successful, when really she needed to deliver some news that wasn't as positive. That really needed to focus on how he could change, how he could grow. Um, but it just didn't seem like that expectation was made clear. There was a lack of organization in the meeting. I also noticed in the first meeting that the posture of the manager was too casual. She was leaned back pretty far. Um, and again, it just didn't, to me, share this message of I'm taking this seriously, even though I think that what she was saying was fine, was proper. It still lacked focus. I thought the overall meeting lacked focus, um, including his actions, again, not being engaged, um, or being able to take the meeting seriously. Um, and again, I think there's some things that she could have done beforehand to kind of set that up. I also didn't feel like the feedback she provided was as concrete or specific as it needed to be. I think there were opportunities in that first meeting in which she could have made more clear um, what she needed from him, um, and what the areas of change needed to be. And I just don't think that happened. In the second meeting, in the second video, um, you know, the manager begins to read what the point or what the purpose of the evaluation is, and I didn't think that came off very genuine or authentic. It seemed to me like she was almost not prepared, to own why she thought it was important. It seemed to me more like this is what the company says is important, even though, whether I feel that way or not. It just, to me, didn't feel very genuine. At one point, she begins to discuss other employees or other individuals. Um, Really, I think she needed to keep the focus on him and his performance. There's clearly a lack of boundaries in this relationship, and that's on her as the manager to set proper boundaries. And also, during one point, she begins to talk about her athletic workout, um, and is also talking about his discipline in the gym, which doesn't feel very appropriate. And then she awkwardly tries to transition back to the meeting's purpose, and it just was not done very well at all. Um, Furthermore, there's complaints that were not shared with him 9 months ago. And so he's obviously very frustrated by that. He seems to care about his performance. He seems to take his job responsibilities seriously, rightfully so. And he just wasn't getting the feedback from her. And that's really disappointing, because he clearly would be willing to make changes, but didn't get the feedback. And I think she avoided that, thinking that she was doing him a favor, but really she was hurting his ability to succeed and to thrive by not having the difficult conversation. So she really needed to deliver that news clearly to him, and it wasn't done. I don't think she took the matters very seriously at all. And again, that's on her, and that impacted other people's opinion of him, because she was avoiding those conversations and she was not taking seriously feedback that could have helped him have a better relationship with his clients. Um, she didn't take seriously the feedback from others either, which again, he wanted that feedback for growth and developmental reasons. Um, she wished to ignore the feedback. Again, I stated this before, but to me, he cares about his work. Unlike in the first video, that individual didn't seem to take very seriously the feedback from others. In the second video, this gentleman did, and he wanted that. He valued it. He cared. He wanted to grow, and unfortunately, his supervisor did not set him up very well. And that's because she wasn't willing to have the difficult dialogue and the conversations that matter, that allow both him and the company to do better work. Didn't happen because of the lack of feedback. And again, I think she was doing him more harm than any favors by not addressing the issues that mattered. So as I think about the issues and kind of the main areas of concern, the first one is lack of boundaries. I think it's really important from a supervisor. Supervisor needs to understand their role, and understand what that means, what that entails, and that they're not buddy. They can be friends and they can be respected. I say friends. Probably shouldn't be friends because there's going to be some issues there. But I think there has to be clear boundaries, and that did not exist. Furthermore, I think feedback, in the evaluation period needs to be focused on growth and development. And it's not just a once a year conversation, but I think good managers and leaders constantly are coaching and are constantly focused on the growth and development of their employees. This cannot be once every 9 months or once a year. It's a continual process. And that kind of leads into that third main issue, and that's that communication is key. That you got to have the conversations that matter. And you've got to have, even when they're difficult, even when there's conflict, communication must be at the center of this relationship. And so I think conversations around growth development, having proper communication, and then making sure that there's boundaries between an employee and employer, or supervisor and supervisee, and that's what I think will allow for greater growth in the in the employee, as well as allowing the company to thrive. So that's what I've got. Thank you. Take care.